Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Citizen A, where we wrap the week's current affairs with the best political team on television from a very Auckland perspective. Warning, we're as fair and balanced as Fox News. Joining me tonight on a revolving panel of bloggers and Auckland opinion shapers. We had asked Auckland Central MP Nikki Kay to be on this week, but she said she was too busy. So instead, we have the much more attractive Māori nationalist and reformed libertarian, whatever that means, editor of the mighty Tūmiki blog, Mr. Timothy Selwyn. And the man I keep explaining to that I can't be Facebook friends with because all my lefty mates would disown me, and whom can't believe he's allowed on the show as it is. The Darth Vader of the right-wing blogosphere. Ladies and gentlemen, lock up your daughters. It's the unsuppressible Andrew Williams stalking Cameron Slater, aka Whale Oil from gotcha.co.nz. Welcome to you both. Coming up tonight, issue 1, Rodney couldn't support a woman in Dancing with the Stars. A woman couldn't support him when he was prancing in bars. What now for ACT in the wake of Heather Roy's secret sacking? Issue 2, who let the fox in the hen house? Will Winston Peters run in John Key's electorate of Helensville? Issue 3 tonight, Lady Macbeth or climate-denying clown boy, who will win the Australian election? And we'll end the show on a final word. But let's kick things off with issue 1. Just when the implosion in ACT couldn't get any better following Rodney Hyde's farcical press conference where he couldn't actually explain why Heather Roy was sacked, we now get leaked documents from Heather Roy showing a damning culture of bullying. What now for ACT? Tim, as a reformed libertarian, whatever that means, you are an old ACT Party supporter and in fact helped the party out in your younger days. Is this the Liberal Party you joined?
Well, that's the thing. They've narrowed their focus down to such a very small group, and they've attracted some, we would say, extremist elements in there and money to help back them. And so we've ended up with something that's always, assuming if it continues this way, to always poll under 5%. And that was part of what Heather Roy was saying earlier this year, was it, or last year, about trying to make it not just about Rodney Hyde and him winning Epsom. And of course that is a direct threat to him, and he's acted to cut it. And if you look at that body language between them, I mean, and this has been going on for months apparently. But yes, it is, the ructions there go back to principles basically, and the fact that they don't seem to have very many anymore.
Was she a very good minister?
I think she could have been a far better minister if she would have actually popped her head up and started to do something and get a bit of a profile instead of keep it very, very under the radar. And you say, well, what is her major achievement? What she got on the board? And you've got to say absolutely nothing so far. So, I mean, okay, she's gone. And now we've got this John Boscawen, this Lamington-dobbed Dalek robotic sort of a person to go out there trying to sell the ACT message. I mean, it's great he's got a checkbook. Yes. I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah. He's got a little black book too.
I do actually respect John Boscawen for being more independent-minded than the average ACT MP. I'll definitely give the guy that. Yeah. But I mean, the whole party is basically, and all the commentary says so, and I agree with it, it's on the rocks. It's basically on the brink right now, because if Rodney does lose Epsom, then it is all over.
Cam, the sheer hypocrisy of the perk buster taking a massive taxpayer-funded holiday with his girlfriend hasn't helped the little general inspire the right-wing free market nutbars in his party, so he's turned to the sensible sentencing nutbars in his party to hold on to power, hasn't he? This is all about factions.
Politics is always about factions, and if you're going to point fingers and lay blame for troughing and perk busting, then yes, you do have to be pure. And so when you get caught, you've got to take it on the chin. But the documents that have been released, everything that I've seen so far, just points to an interesting insight into the patheticness of politicians, of all shapes and sizes. This isn't unique to ACT. It's unique to ACT this week. But how long is it going to be before another set of documents turns up from another party that are having ructions?
To both of you, why was Heather Roy sacked and why couldn't Rodney Hyde tell the press conference?
I think a lot of it is probably personality politics when it comes down to it. And you're dealing with a caucus, you know, ACT used to be, 8, 9, or was it 10 MPs at one stage, and now they're down to this very small number. And it's absolutely crazy because you've got Roger Douglas on one side, and John Key said he's not coming into
It's one dead man, 3 grey men, and a woman.
So Roger's out, just completely ruled out, utterly. So all
Is
they've
he
got,
still alive?
all they've got left is this David Garrett and John Biscowan.
Yep.
Now, there's no way that David Garrett is going to be a member of the executive, given some of the things he does, some of the things he says, and when he says it and does it, which is highly inappropriate. So there's no way he's getting in. So basically, they're caught between a rock and a hard place because they've got nowhere else to go.
But why didn't he give the reason as to why she was being sacked? A minister
Because
has been
he
sacked
doesn't
and he
have to.
refused to.
Because he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't have
That's
to.
why
No, he doesn't
Richard
have to.
Worth, same thing. He doesn't
Right.
have to. If they officially resign, they don't have to give a reason.
Yep.
Would you give a reason? Would you go through those 82
Pages
pages
of
and
fact.
trawl through it? It's going to be very painful.
It's
And a lot
fact.
of it's going to be personality
But it
stuff.
looks bad, doesn't it? Rodney refusing to answer those questions as to why he was why she was gone.
I take another tack. If I was Rodney, I'd say nothing
Yep.
as well. Let all of the leaking and the shenanigans carry on, and maintain the higher position. And then when it's all over and everyone's run out of puff, come out and tell the story.
Right.
But
Which is?
with that entirely couched and framed around all of the pathetic name calling, and these documents are ridiculous. You know, accusing Rodney of being drunk on Waiheke and abusing unionists. Well, that'll get you.
That's in
That
his
sounds
job
like a
description,
Saturday. That
isn't
sounds like
it?
a Saturday night, doesn't it?
Isn't that a great big tick in the leader for Act box? Surely, you know. I mean, how's that bad?
Tim, ACT stopped being a serious political party trying to win 10% of the popular vote by opting for a sub 5% party vote plus electorate seat strategy, playing to fringe issues like 3 strikes, climate denial, and the perpetual hunt for the nanny state monster. By offending their female voters, how niche is the ACT party voting pool now?
It's both of the female voters.
Yeah, exactly.
Both
Well, if Heather Roy does stand down, there's another female to take
Yep.
her place at the tokenistic, whatever it is, number 5 position. They have got major problems. They've always had problems attracting female voters and also female candidates as well, I think. And they're in big trouble, and it can only get smaller and smaller.
Yep.
And I was looking at Rodney Hyde's own particular vote, and as far as, you know, he's got a massive majority. He's got over 50%. But if the Nats decide to pull the plug on Rodney and Epsom,
In a heartbeat. I think
in a
they'll
heartbeat,
do it. I think they'll
and if
do
they
it.
shrink below that 2% and he can't pull anyone else in, and there's no prospect of doing so, they will liquidate him very, very
The world's
swiftly.
slowest Indian sitting there waiting.
Cam, from the Heather Roy documents, ACT sees team leadership as primitive combat, with a need to destroy a colleague's reputation to justify an otherwise inexplicable decision. If ousted, the public will confirm prejudices about the nasty party comprised of bullies. She's right, isn't she? ACT are just nasty male bullies, and ganging up on Heather in this manner will cost Rodney Epsom. If you're a female voter in Epsom, why would you vote for him now?
If you're a female voter in Epsom, chances are you're actually a National supporter.
Yep.
The only reason why you vote Rodney and ACT is insurance. But if the insurance policy is like a Fidelity Life policy, for example, then you may as well pull the plug.
Right. So he's gone?
I think he is. I think the word will go out. Actually, the word doesn't go out in Epsom. They will not be told how to vote by anybody.
Right.
They're smart enough to work out for themselves. And if they see that National can get close themselves to getting over 50%, then they don't need the insurance policy. Then Epsom's not in play.
Who does National run in Epsom?
Well, they could just about run anybody, but my bet is that they'll
They used to be able to run absolutely anyone, and that's why he got in the first place.
my bet is my bet would be the front runner would be the electric chair, Aaron Batnagar. He's resigned.
Really?
He's resigned from
Awful
council.
Aaron?
He's resigned from council.
Yeah,
He's
that's
not moving forward. It's a very much a strategic placement on his part to not have that conflict, the council conflict, and then in the event that ACT implodes. And remember, he's a former ACT member.
Yes.
He knows very well.
He knows where all the corpses are buried, right? He knows that's where they're all buried.
So they might stand Aaron, but I mean, it doesn't take much to actually beat Rodney. It's the perception of an insurance policy that's no longer working.
Could Labor come through the middle in a split between Rodney, Aaron awfulness, and
It'd be lovely
Never.
to see our mate Kate Sutton
wouldn't
get
it be
in.
lovely to get Kate in?
She stood last time, and I
Yes.
think she got about 6,000, 5,000 votes.
She hasn't got a hope.
Exactly. Unfortunately, all of the other parties haven't. If it's got a blue rosette on it for
Yeah.
national, then it could be just a lump of ham
Well,
or
just
something.
choose a
and
monkey.
they'll win.
Who could Labour run that would have a chance up against
No
Rodney?
one.
I don't think. I mean, they even ran Judith Tizard back in, I think it was '87 in
Yes,
Remuera with the
yes.
swing there, and she almost got in. But that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a Rogernomics thing.
That was before
and that was
we knew
the
about
only.
her record for laziness.
And that was
Yeah.
the only way they could possibly win in Epsom, is if the candidate and the prevailing orthodoxy was Rogernomics with a hard on. You know what I mean? They can't win there.
Cam, who wins, who loses with the ACT implosion?
I think National wins because they hoover up the less right-wing members of ACT, perhaps the more liberal side of the ACT party, because
Yeah.
where else can they go? They're not
Yeah.
going to go to Labour. And ACT loses. ACT loses ultimately whenever there is party insurrection, whenever there's disloyalty, whenever there's this sort of monkey business going on, the party that's involved in it always loses.
Tim, who wins, who loses with the ACT implosion? Don't we all win? Don't we all win?
Doesn't
a little
New
bit?
Zealand win?
Doesn't it?
No. Well, National will definitely get a little bit of a fillip there, I assume. But it is that insurance, and it is a risk because they don't know. If he could drag 2, 3, 4, then that could change everything.
Still got to win it.
And they risk losing. Well, that's the thing, and it's going to be close. But Rodney has been building his own little fiefdom there for years, and this was the problem within the ACT party.
Yeah.
And part of the ructions when he was going up against Richard Prebble as the leader. And they got really angry because he was operating independently,
Yep.
basically. But over the years, he's built up this rock-solid organisation that is personally loyal to Rodney Hyde.
Right.
And okay, maybe the principles have washed away a little bit, maybe expediency has come in, but they, I think, remain solid towards Rodney. So maybe the party might be imploding, but his electorate structure itself isn't, and that's probably the best thing for Rodney at the moment.
Can he
to
win
hang
Epsom?
out.
Can he win Epsom?
I
Yes or
think
no? What's
Rodney
your call?
can always pull out something and win Epsom, but he needs to make himself relevant. He needs to make ACT relevant for that insurance policy to win. But I mean, is this a case with ACT now where people are wishing for the old days of Richard?
Oh, exactly. I'm
Can
sure
he take- can he
Heather
take-
Roy would have loved
Yes.
Richard probably to have stayed on, and then maybe they would have a shot at maybe 7, 8, 9% like they used to.
Thank you, panel. Issue 2. Who let the fox in the hen house? Winston Peters to run in John Key's electorate of Helensville? Tim, Winston is just a master, isn't he? The audacity of running in the Prime Minister's electorate. Did John Key just gulp?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at the figures here for the last election,
Yep.
2008. John Key, 26,771 votes. That's 73.6% of the vote.
Yep.
You know, for John Key there. Labour, Darian Fenton, 6,000. I know this
Dear
is
old
good for you.
Darian, dear old Darian, yes.
6,200.
Did she turn up?
David Clendon from the Greens, he's just got in when someone else got out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a musical chairs over there. 2,000, just over 2,000. And guess who stood for ACT in the...
John Boscawen.
No, David Garrett.
Oh, that's right.
Under 1,000 votes too.
Okay.
But only
Okay.
because
And
he was
he's-
forced to. Only because he was forced to stand.
So I mean, who's Winston going after here, really? Is he just after the publicity and the wind-up and the lead-up to it? Because he is winding it up.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Oh,
There's a
it's a
lot of
great
unsealed-
threat. It's
Yes.
a great threat
There's
to
a
make.
lot of unsealed car parks out there, very deep. He should wear floaties.
Cam, as a huge Winston Peters fan, you will be thrilled with the news of his comeback. His unique brand of economic nationalism will play very well to the Helensville electorate, won't it?
I don't believe it will play well to the Helensville electorate. If it was Orewa we were talking about,
Yeah.
where the average age is somewhere approaching
90.
97 or something like that,
Well, Whangaparo is Māori for old people who sit by the sea and die, isn't it? Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. And if that was where he was standing, then it might be sensible. This is just a publicity stunt by Winston.
He's good at it though, isn't he?
He's good at publicity
good.
stunts, but I'm going to make it my personal mission in life to be at every meeting he's at and ask the first question: where's our $158,000?